Don't be soft. The river almost took him on a Tuesday. Not metaphorically. The current was genuine and cold and considerably stronger than the conditions at the put-in had suggested it would be. He was an experienced kayaker, 12 years, hundreds of trips, the specific competence of someone who had been in genuinely difficult water many times and had always found the line through it. He knew what he was doing. And then he was upside down in 40-degree water with the current pressing him against a partially submerged log and his paddle nowhere in his hands, and the specific, crystalline, completely humbling recognition that the river did not care what he knew. His name was Connor. He was 47 years old. He had spent the previous decade, by his own later assessment, becoming progressively softer in the specific way that modern comfort enables without anyone noticing. Not dramatically. Not in any way that the people around him would have identified or that any external measure of his life would have registered. He was healthy. He was professionally successful. He was well regarded by people whose regard he valued. He exercised. He ate reasonably well. He maintained the specific, adequate relationship with physical challenge that his particular version of a comfortable modern life had established as sufficient. But he had been, without fully realizing it, systematically reducing his exposure to the specific kinds of genuine difficulty that build the specific kinds of interior resource that genuine difficulty builds and that comfortable conditions consistently fail to maintain. He had been avoiding the cold. The sustained hunger. The physical suffering that genuine effort in genuinely demanding conditions produces. The specific experience of being in a situation where the comfortable option does not exist and the demanding option is the only available one, and the response to the demanding option reveals something about the character of the person responding that the comfortable option never requires to be revealed. He had been avoiding these things not through any conscious decision to avoid them. Through the specific, gradual, entirely unremarkable accumulation of the choices that modern comfort makes continuously available. The heated car instead of the cold walk. The food that arrives rather than the meal that requires effort and delay. The workout that is complete after 30 minutes at a manageable intensity rather than the one that continues past the point where continuing is the harder choice. The challenge that is undertaken only after sufficient preparation has guaranteed sufficient comfort. The softness had accumulated. Not in a single moment. In the daily, unremarkable, entirely reasonable seeming preference for the comfortable option that the comfortable life makes perpetually available. And then the river. He got out. Barely. With the specific, oxygen-starved, hypothermia-adjacent physical experience of someone who has been in 40-degree water without their paddle for a period of time that felt much longer than it was. He sat on the bank. He was shaking. Not just from the cold, from something more fundamental than the cold. From the specific, complete, utterly genuine recognition of how much had been lost in the accumulation of the comfortable choices. Not fitness. He was fit enough. The ability to survive the river had been present. What had almost not been present was the specific interior resource, the particular quality of mental and psychological resilience, the specific capacity to function clearly in conditions of genuine physical distress, the practiced ability to make good decisions when every physical signal is screaming that the situation is worse than it is. That 12 years of kayaking and a decade of comfort had eroded in the specific way that comfort erodes things that are not regularly challenged. He had become soft. In the specific, interior, philosophically significant sense of the word. Not weak in any simple physical sense. Soft in the sense of having lost the specific hardness, the specific, tested, directly experienced knowledge of his own capacity under genuine pressure, that the gradual reduction of genuine challenge had gradually removed. He sat on the bank for a long time. Shaking. And thinking about what the river had just told him. This is what we are exploring today. Not as a counsel of unnecessary suffering or gratuitous self-punishment or the performative rejection of comfort for its own sake. As the honest, philosophically grounded, genuinely urgent examination of what softness actually is, what it actually costs, and what the specific daily practices of refusing to be soft actually build in the person who takes the question seriously. This is Stoic Ascension. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on your notifications because every single video here is built for exactly this depth and exactly this honesty. The kind of honesty that most people find genuinely uncomfortable because it requires looking at themselves with a precision that the comfortable life is specifically designed to make unnecessary. What comes after this builds directly on everything you are about to hear. Do not miss what is coming. What softness actually is, the philosophical precision that the word requires. Softness is a word that carries a lot of cultural baggage. In many contexts it is used as a disguised insult, a coded way of dismissing sensitivity or emotion or the honest acknowledgement of genuine difficulty as inadequate. This is not how the word is being used here, and the distinction matters. Softness, in the sense that the Stoics addressed and that this exploration is concerned with, is not sensitivity. It is not the honest expression of genuine emotion. It is not the appropriate acknowledgement of genuine pain or loss or difficulty. These things are not softness. They are honesty. They are the genuine interior life of a real human being, and the Stoics valued them. Softness, precisely defined, is the specific condition that results from the systematic avoidance of genuine challenge. The state of an interior that has not been genuinely tested and therefore does not know its own genuine capacity. The specific fragility of a character that has been built primarily in comfortable conditions and that therefore has not developed the specific qualities, the resilience, the patience, the genuine capacity for sustained effort and genuine discomfort, that only the regular encounter with genuine challenge produces. It is not a moral failing. It is a developmental gap. The specific absence of qualities that are not given to anyone and that are available only to those who regularly encounter the specific conditions that build them. And it is consequential. In ways that the comfortable life specifically prevents from being seen until the specific condition that reveals them, the river, the diagnosis, the loss, the professional collapse, the relationship breakdown, the specific genuine difficulty that the comfortable life has been inadvertently training the person not to be able to meet, arrives. The Stoics understood softness with the precision that their philosophy of genuine character development required. They built their entire understanding of what a good human life requires around the recognition that genuine character, the specific, tested, genuinely available qualities of wisdom and courage and justice and self-discipline, is not produced by the comfortable life. Is not the natural outcome of adequate circumstances and reasonable challenge and the specific modern management of difficulty that treats discomfort as something to be minimized rather than as something to be genuinely engaged with. Genuine character is forged. This is not a metaphor. It is the most accurate available description of the specific process through which the specific qualities of genuine character are actually built. Through the regular, deliberate, genuinely demanding encounter with challenge that reveals the current edges of capacity and that builds, through the encounter and through the sustained engagement with what the encounter requires, the expanded capacity that the next encounter will find. The comfortable life does not forge. It maintains. And what is only maintained, without the regular testing and the regular rebuilding that genuine challenge requires, gradually softens. Not in any single dramatic moment. In the specific, daily, entirely unremarkable way that anything maintained in comfortable conditions without genuine challenge softens. This is softness. And naming it precisely is the beginning of genuinely addressing it. What the Stoics actually said about hardness, the philosophical foundation. The Stoic philosophical tradition is, at its most fundamental level, a philosophy of genuine character development. And genuine character development, in the Stoic understanding, requires the specific, deliberate, regularly maintained encounter with genuine difficulty. This is not peripheral to the Stoic project. It is central. It is the specific understanding that distinguishes the Stoic approach to what makes a good human life from every philosophy that locates the good life primarily in the enjoyment of comfortable circumstances. Seneca wrote about this with the urgency and the directness of someone who had examined the question from the inside. He wrote about the specific relationship between genuine difficulty and genuine character with a precision that remains, 2,000 years after it was written, among the most practically applicable guidance available. He wrote, "It is not that I am brave, but that I know what is not worth fearing." And I know this because I have practiced meeting the things I feared and discovering, through the meeting, that they were more workable than the fearing suggested. He wrote, the mind ought to be sent into difficulties and hardships to prevent it from going soft. Endure bravely. This is the only way that the deity makes right-minded men. And most directly, it is not the man who has little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life. This last is the Stoic counsel of genuine engagement with what is actually real rather than the management of conditions toward the comfortable. The person who can receive what is and engage with it genuinely rather than continuously managing toward what is more comfortable has developed something that the person who only operates in managed comfortable conditions has not. Epictetus was perhaps the most directly insistent about the necessity of genuine hardness. He had, as always, a specific authority on the subject that comes from having tested his philosophy in the most genuinely demanding available conditions. He wrote, seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life. He wrote, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Don't wish to be thought to know anything. And if some people think that you amount to something, distrust yourself. And the specific instruction that most directly addresses the question of softness, nothing great comes suddenly into being, any more than a bunch of grapes or a figure. If you tell me that you want a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. The ripening of genuine character, the specific hardening of the interior that makes it genuinely capable of meeting what genuine life genuinely requires, takes time. Not the time of waiting but the time of genuine engagement. Of regular, deliberate, honestly demanding encounter with the conditions that produce the specific qualities being built. Marcus Aurelius addressed softness with the specific, private, honest urgency of someone who was continuously at risk of it. Not because he was weak. Because the position he occupied made the comfortable option continuously available and the demanding option continuously the one that had to be deliberately chosen. He wrote to himself about the mornings, the specific, recurring challenge of the morning as the daily threshold where the soft choice and the demanding choice diverged. He wrote about his own tendency toward the comfortable option in the morning and his continuous, renewed, deliberate choice to override it. Not as a guilt-driven punishment of comfort. As the specific recognition that the demanding choice in the morning established the quality of character from which the day's genuine demands would be met. He wrote, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work, as a human being. What do I have to complain of, if I'm going to do what I was born for? Or is this what I was born for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm? This is the daily, practical, philosophically grounded refusal to be soft. Not grand. Not dramatic. The specific choice, made in the specific small moment where the comfortable and the demanding diverge, to choose the demanding because the demanding builds what the comfortable cannot. The specific forms softness takes in modern life, naming them precisely. Softness is not experienced as softness. It is experienced as comfort. As reasonable self-care. As appropriate rest. As the sensible management of challenge that modern life's complexity makes necessary. The specific camouflage of softness as reasonable modern living is one of its most effective mechanisms for perpetuating itself unexamined. Naming the specific forms it takes, stripping the reasonable-sounding justifications and seeing the softness beneath them, is among the most important and most uncomfortable practices available for genuinely engaging with it. The softness of constant comfort management. The modern person has access to an unprecedented array of tools for the management of physical discomfort. The temperature-controlled environment that prevents the experience of genuine cold or genuine heat. The immediate availability of food that prevents the experience of genuine hunger. The ergonomic optimization of every physical environment that prevents the experience of sustained physical discomfort. The pharmaceutical management of pain that prevents the sustained experience of physical suffering. None of these comforts are wrong in themselves. They are genuinely useful and genuinely valuable and genuinely worth having. But when the relationship with physical comfort becomes the systematic avoidance of every experience of genuine physical discomfort, when the cold is always managed away before it becomes genuinely felt, the hunger always addressed before it becomes genuinely experienced, the physical effort always stopped before it becomes genuinely demanding, something specific is being lost. The specific, directly experienced knowledge of what the body can actually tolerate. Of how much greater the body's actual capacity for discomfort is than the comfortable life's management of it suggests. Of the specific interior quality, the patience, the sustained engagement with difficulty, the practiced capacity to function clearly in the presence of genuine physical discomfort, that only regular genuine encounter with genuine physical discomfort builds. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort with the specific deliberateness of people who understood what the systematic avoidance of discomfort produces in the character. Seneca regularly spent time in conditions of deliberate physical difficulty, eating poorly, sleeping uncomfortably, wearing inadequate clothing for the conditions, not as punishment but as the specific practice of maintaining his genuine knowledge of what was tolerable. Of keeping the interior soft tissue from becoming too dependent on the continuous management of comfort for its adequate functioning. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? The question is the practice. Does this genuinely feel as terrible as the anticipation of it suggested?" And the honest answer, in almost every case of voluntary physical discomfort, is no. It does not feel as terrible. The feared condition, when actually met, is more workable than the avoidance of it suggested it would be. And this discovery, made through direct experience rather than theory, is the specific thing that the voluntary encounter with discomfort produces that the continued avoidance of it cannot produce. The softness of emotional avoidance. Perhaps the most consequential form of softness available in modern life is the specific avoidance of genuine emotional difficulty. The management of the interior toward the continuously comfortable rather than the genuine engagement with the difficult emotional material that genuine human life consistently produces. This avoidance takes many forms. The conversation not had because the having of it would produce genuine emotional discomfort for one or both people involved. The grief not genuinely felt because the genuine feeling of it is more difficult than the management around it. The anger not genuinely examined because the genuine examination of it requires the honest acknowledgement of something uncomfortable about the self. The fear not genuinely engaged with because the genuine engagement is more demanding than the specific distraction that is perpetually available. The emotionally soft person is not the person who feels deeply. It is the person who has learned to consistently manage their feelings toward the more comfortable rather than genuinely engaging with the full range of what genuine human emotional experience produces. And the cost of this management is the specific atrophying of the emotional resilience that only genuine engagement with difficult emotions builds. The person who has never genuinely grieved does not know what genuine grieving requires or produces. The person who has never genuinely confronted their own fear does not know the specific interior architecture that genuine confrontation with fear builds. The person who has never sat with genuine shame or genuine guilt long enough for the genuine engagement with it to produce genuine learning has not built the specific interior resource that genuine emotional engagement builds. The Stoics were not emotionally avoidant. Marcus Aurelius grieved. Genuinely. He felt the weight of loss and the specific difficulty of the sustained challenge of his position with the complete, unmanaged honesty of a person who understood that genuine feeling was not the problem. The problem was allowing genuine feeling to become the sole governance of behavior. Not the feeling itself but the specific treatment of the feeling as something to be avoided rather than something to be genuinely engaged with. This is the Stoic approach to emotional hardness. Not the performance of emotional invulnerability. The genuine, courageous, patient engagement with the full range of emotional experience without the specific avoidance that softness produces. The softness of intellectual complacency. The mind that is not regularly challenged in genuinely demanding ways softens in the specific way that the body softens without regular physical challenge. The thinking becomes less sharp. The reasoning becomes less rigorous. The capacity for the sustained, genuinely demanding intellectual engagement that the most genuinely important questions require becomes less available. The intellectually soft person is not stupid. They may be highly intelligent, but they have allowed the intellectual life to settle into the groove of the familiar and the confirmed rather than the genuinely challenging and the genuinely uncertain. They engage primarily with ideas they already agree with. They read primarily in the domains where they already have competence. They avoid the sustained, genuinely demanding intellectual engagement with the ideas that most challenge their existing understanding. And the cost is the specific, gradual atrophying of the intellectual resilience, the specific capacity for genuine, sustained engagement with genuinely difficult and genuinely uncertain intellectual terrain, that the comfortable intellectual life consistently produces. The softness of relational avoidance. Genuine relationships, the specific, deep, mutually honest, genuinely present relationships that constitute genuine human connection, are genuinely demanding. They require the sustained, patient, sometimes painful engagement with another human being in all of their complexity. They require the specific vulnerability of being genuinely seen. The specific discomfort of being genuinely known. The specific difficulty of genuine conflict and genuine repair and the sustained engagement with the specific challenges that genuine intimacy consistently produces. The relationally soft person manages their relationships toward the comfortable rather than genuinely inhabiting the full complexity of what genuine relationship requires. They avoid the difficult conversation. They manage the impression rather than expressing the genuine self. They maintain the comfortable distance that the genuine vulnerability of genuine intimacy would require them to close. And the cost is the specific shallowness of connection that the management of relational comfort produces. The relationships that are pleasant without being genuinely nourishing. That are present without being genuinely real. That provide company without the specific depth of genuine being known that only the genuine vulnerability of genuine intimacy produces. The softness of deferred difficulty. The specific pattern of consistently deferring genuine difficulty to a future moment when the conditions will be more favorable is perhaps the most universally practiced form of softness available. The workout deferred until the motivation is more present. The difficult project deferred until the inspiration is more available. The challenging conversation deferred until the timing is more right. The genuinely demanding engagement deferred until the comfort of the present moment has been sufficiently enjoyed. The deferral produces the specific, gradual, completely unremarkable erosion of the capacity for genuine, immediate engagement with genuine difficulty. The capacity that only develops through the regular, genuine, non-deferred encounter with genuine challenge and that atrophies in the specific way that all capacities atrophy when they are consistently not used. The soft person is not the person who needs occasional rest. Genuine rest is necessary and appropriate and not softness. The soft person is the one who, in the presence of the available difficult option and the available comfortable option, consistently chooses the comfortable one without the deliberate, principled, philosophically grounded choice that genuine rest represents. Why softness is the enemy of genuine human flourishing, the complete philosophical argument. The Stoics built their philosophy around a specific understanding of what the genuinely good human life requires. And their understanding was, at its most fundamental level, incompatible with softness in every form we have described. The genuinely good human life, in the Stoic framework, is the life that is fully inhabited by a person who is fully developed. Who has built, through the regular, genuine, demanding encounter with the full range of what genuine living requires, the specific interior qualities, wisdom, courage, justice, self-discipline, that constitute genuine excellence of character. These qualities are not produced by the comfortable life. They are produced by the specific encounter with the conditions that reveal their current absence and that build, through the encounter and through the sustained engagement with what the encounter requires, their genuine presence. Wisdom is produced by genuine encounter with genuine complexity and genuine uncertainty. Not the comfortable management of the familiar but the sustained, patient engagement with the genuinely unknown. Courage is produced by genuine encounter with genuine fear and genuine risk. Not the avoidance of the feared situation but the genuine, sustained engagement with it in the presence of the genuine fear that it produces. Justice is produced by genuine encounter with the genuine difficulty of treating other people with genuine fairness in conditions that make genuine fairness genuinely costly. Not the easy fairness of the comfortable situation but the sustained, principled, costly fairness of genuine commitment to the value. Self-discipline is produced by genuine encounter with the genuine pull of the comfortable option in the presence of the demanding one. Not the absence of the pull is always present, but the regular, deliberate, consistently maintained choice of the demanding over the comfortable because the demanding choice builds what the comfortable one cannot. None of these qualities are produced by the systematic avoidance of difficulty. All of them require the regular, genuine, demanding engagement with precisely what the soft life is systematically avoiding. This is the Stoic argument against softness. Not the moralistic claim that comfort is wrong or that suffering is virtuous or that difficulty should be sought for its own sake. The specific, philosophical argument that the qualities most worth building require the specific conditions that build them. And those conditions are not the conditions of the comfortable life. The comfortable life produces comfort. It does not produce courage. It produces ease. It does not produce wisdom. It produces the specific, pleasant, ultimately inadequate life of someone who has been maintained rather than developed. Who has been kept rather than grown. Who has been comfortable rather than alive in the genuine, demanding, fully inhabited sense that the Stoic understanding of the genuinely good life requires. Connor understood this on the bank of the river. Shaking from the cold and the specific physical reality of having been genuinely close to being genuinely hurt. He understood it not as a philosophical position but as the specific, embodied, completely direct experience of someone who had just been confronted with the gap between the genuine demands of a genuinely demanding situation and the specific interior resources that a decade of comfort had left him with. The gap was real. The resources were not as available as they would have been if the decade had included more genuine challenge. Not absent, they were there. But more distant. More effortful to access. Less immediately available in the specific way that regularly used capacities are immediately available and infrequently used capacities are not. He had become soft. And the river had told him with the specific, unambiguous clarity of a genuinely indifferent natural force. The specific practices of refusing to be soft, what they look like and what they build. Refusing to be soft is not a single decision. It is a daily practice. A daily, ongoing, never-finished practice of deliberately choosing the more demanding option in the specific moments where the more comfortable option is simultaneously available and more immediately attractive. This practice is not about suffering for its own sake. It is about the specific, targeted, deliberately maintained engagement with the conditions that build what comfort cannot. The specific qualities of interior resilience, of genuine capacity under pressure, of the practiced knowledge of what is actually tolerable and what is actually manageable and what the self is actually capable of when the self-management of the comfortable life is not available. The practice of voluntary physical challenge. The most immediately available and the most directly powerful practice of refusing to be soft is the regular, deliberate, genuinely demanding encounter with physical challenge. Not the comfortable workout that produces adequate fitness maintenance. The specific, regularly practiced engagement with physical challenge that pushes genuinely past the point of comfortable adequacy into the specific territory where continuing is the harder choice and the body's signals are suggesting that stopping would be the reasonable response. Not to injure. Not to produce the specific damage that genuine overtraining produces. But to regularly, genuinely, deliberately encounter the specific experience of genuine physical difficulty and to discover, in that encounter, both the limits of current capacity and the specific interior quality, the patience, the resolve, the sustained engagement with what the body is offering as difficulty, that the encounter builds. Seneca's voluntary poverty days, the periods of deliberately poor eating and inadequate clothing and uncomfortable sleeping, were not primarily physical practices. They were practices of the relationship between physical difficulty and interior response. Of the specific discovery, made repeatedly and deliberately, that the feared physical difficulty was consistently more workable than the anticipation of it had suggested. The cold shower that is chosen rather than endured. The fasting that is practiced rather than accidentally experienced. The physical effort that continues past the point of comfortable adequacy and into the specific territory of genuine physical challenge. These are the specific practices of voluntary physical challenge that build what the comfortable life cannot build. Connor returned to the river. Not immediately. After months of deliberate, graduated engagement with physical challenge that rebuilt the specific interior resource the decade of comfort had eroded. Cold water exposure. Extended physical effort. The specific, regular, deliberately maintained encounter with conditions that his body would prefer to manage away. He went back to the river the following year. Better prepared. Not because the year had made him significantly fitter. Because the year had rebuilt the specific relationship with genuine physical difficulty that the decade of comfort had degraded. He knew, through direct experience rather than theory, what it was like to be cold and to function. To be genuinely physically challenged and to make good decisions in the presence of the challenge. To be uncomfortable and to continue. That knowledge, genuinely his, drawn from genuine experience rather than comfortable management, was what the decade had been gradually losing. And what the year of deliberate re-engagement with genuine physical challenge had rebuilt. The practice of emotional engagement without the exit. The emotionally demanding practice, and in many ways the most consequential one for the quality of genuine human life, is the specific, regular, deliberately maintained practice of engaging with the difficult emotional material rather than managing away from it. This practice looks different in different lives. For some people it is the conversation that has been deferred and that now needs to be had. For others it is the grief that has been managed around and that needs to be genuinely felt. For others it is the fear that has been consistently avoided and that needs to be genuinely examined and genuinely encountered. The specific structure is the same in every case. The deliberate choice to engage rather than manage. To feel rather than distract. To examine rather than avoid. To sit with the difficult emotional material, with the specific patience and the specific willingness to remain present to what is uncomfortable, for long enough that the genuine engagement produces what the management consistently prevents. The genuine processing of the grief. The genuine examination of the fear. The genuine understanding of the anger. The genuine integration of the shame. These are produced through the engagement, not through the management. Through the willingness to sit with what is difficult rather than perpetually managing away from it. This willingness is the specific, emotionally demanding form of refusing to be soft. Not the performance of invulnerability. The genuine, courageous, patient willingness to be genuinely present to the full range of what genuine human emotional experience produces. Without the exit. Without the management. With the specific interior hardness that says, this is difficult and I am staying with it until the staying with it produces what the managing around it cannot. The practice of intellectual challenge. The mind that is regularly pushed past its comfortable intellectual territory is a genuinely different mind from the one that operates exclusively within it. The specific qualities of intellectual resilience, the capacity for sustained engagement with genuinely complex and genuinely uncertain intellectual terrain, the willingness to hold competing ideas in genuine tension without the premature resolution of that tension into the comfortable familiar, the specific capacity to be genuinely changed by the encounter with a genuinely challenging idea. These are built through the regular, deliberate encounter with intellectual challenge. The practice looks like reading the books that genuinely challenge the existing intellectual framework rather than exclusively the ones that confirm it. Engaging with the ideas of people whose conclusions are genuinely different from yours, not to defeat those ideas but to genuinely understand them from the inside. Sitting with the genuine uncertainty of genuinely unresolved questions rather than reaching for the premature comfort of the confidently known. This is the intellectual form of refusing to be soft. The specific, daily, deliberately maintained choice to push the mind into territory that the comfortable intellectual life has not prepared it for and to discover, in the pushing, both the limits of current intellectual capacity and the specific qualities, the curiosity, the patience, the genuine openness to being changed, that the encounter builds. The practice of relational courage. The relationally demanding practice is the specific, regular, deliberately chosen engagement with the full complexity of genuine relationship. The difficult conversation chosen rather than deferred. The genuine vulnerability expressed rather than managed. The genuine conflict engaged rather than avoided. The genuine repair attempted rather than the comfortable distance maintained. This is not the counsel of unnecessary conflict or gratuitous relational difficulty. It is the specific practice of being genuinely present to the full complexity of what genuine human relationship requires rather than consistently managing toward the more comfortable relational surface that relational softness produces. The practice is the specific, daily, deliberately maintained choice to bring more of the genuine self to the genuine relationships rather than less. To express more honestly. To engage more fully. To be more genuinely present to the difficulty of genuine relationship rather than perpetually managing toward the comfortable shallowness that the avoidance of that difficulty produces. The practice of the immediate engagement. The most immediately available and the most universally applicable practice of refusing to be soft is the specific practice of not deferring the available difficulty to a future moment. The workout that is done today rather than deferred to tomorrow when the motivation might be more present. The difficult conversation that is had today rather than deferred to next week when the timing might be more right. The genuinely challenging project that is engaged today rather than deferred to the period of greater inspiration that may or may not arrive. Not all deferral is softness. Genuine strategic timing is real and appropriate. But the specific pattern of consistently deferring the genuinely demanding to the future moment when the conditions will be more comfortable, this pattern is the most immediately addressable form of softness available. The Stoic practice is the immediate engagement with the available difficulty. Not because the future moment will not arrive. Because the capacity for the immediate engagement with available difficulty, the specific interior quality of not needing the conditions to be more comfortable before the demanding choice can be made, is itself built through the practice of making the demanding choice when the conditions are not more comfortable. This is perhaps the most direct and the most daily available practice of refusing to be soft. The specific choice, made in the specific moment where the comfortable option and the demanding option are both present, to choose the demanding one. Not dramatically. Specifically. In the small moments that constitute the daily accumulation of either the softening or the hardening of the interior. The practice of deliberate exposure to the genuinely uncomfortable. The graduated, deliberate, regularly maintained exposure to genuine discomfort, not the comfortable management of it but the genuine, sustained encounter with it, is the specific practice that the Stoics developed under the name of philosophical hardening and that Connor's year of river preparation embodied in its most direct and practical form. Cold water. Extended hunger. Physical effort sustained past the comfortable stopping point. The sustained maintenance of a demanding standard when the comfortable alternative is entirely available. The specific, regular, deliberately maintained choice to encounter genuine discomfort rather than managing it away. Not for suffering's sake. For the specific, directly experienced knowledge that genuine discomfort produces. The knowledge that the feared condition is more workable than the anticipation suggested. That the body and the interior are more capable than the comfortable life's management of difficulty implies. That the genuine encounter with genuine challenge reveals a capacity for meeting genuine difficulty that the comfortable life's consistent management of difficulty has been obscuring. This knowledge is not available through theory. It is not produced through the intellectual understanding that discomfort is survivable. It is produced through the direct experience of surviving genuine discomfort with the interior functioning clearly and the behavior remaining genuinely chosen rather than panic-driven or avoidance-driven. This is the specific knowledge that the soft person lacks. And this is the specific knowledge that the practice of voluntary, graduated, regularly maintained exposure to genuine discomfort builds. The specific qualities that refusing to be soft builds, the complete inventory. The practice of refusing to be soft, the daily, ongoing, specifically targeted engagement with the genuine difficulty that the comfortable life consistently makes avoidable, builds specific qualities that no other practice builds as effectively. Genuine resilience. Not the performance of resilience, the brave face in the difficult situation, the stoic exterior in the presence of genuine difficulty. Genuine resilience. The specific, tested, directly experienced knowledge of the self's actual capacity for meeting genuine difficulty with the interior functioning clearly and the behavior remaining genuinely chosen. This genuine resilience is available only to the person who has genuinely encountered difficulty. Has sat with the cold long enough to know what the cold actually feels like after the initial shock. Has pushed through the physical effort past the comfortable stopping point enough times to know what the discomfort of that territory actually feels like and what it actually requires. Has engaged with the difficult conversation enough times to know that the feared consequence is consistently more workable than the anticipation suggested. This knowledge, genuine, embodied, drawn from direct experience, is the specific content of genuine resilience. And it is available only through the regular, deliberate engagement with genuine difficulty. Genuine confidence. Not the performed confidence of someone who presents well and appears assured. Genuine confidence. The specific, unshakable, evidence-based confidence of someone who knows, from direct experience rather than theory, what they are actually capable of in genuinely demanding conditions. This confidence is not available to the person who has only operated in comfortable conditions. The comfortable conditions do not provide the specific, direct, genuine evidence of capacity under pressure that genuine confidence is built from. They provide the comfortable confirmation that the person performs adequately in comfortable conditions. Which is not the evidence that genuine confidence requires. The genuine evidence requires the genuine encounter. The cold water. The physical effort sustained past the comfortable stopping point. The difficult conversation had with the specific emotional exposure that genuine honesty requires. The intellectual engagement with the idea that genuinely challenges the existing framework. The relational vulnerability that genuine intimacy requires. From these encounters, regular, deliberate, honestly demanding, genuine confidence is built. The specific, unshakable quality of someone who knows, from the inside, what they are actually made of. Genuine wisdom. The person who has met genuine difficulty genuinely, not managed it away, not avoided it, not waited for the conditions to be more comfortable, has access to a specific quality of understanding that the person who has only operated in comfortable conditions does not have. They understand what difficulty actually requires. Not in the abstract sense. In the direct, experiential, embodied sense of someone who has been through the specific territory and has developed, through the going through, the specific understanding of what the going through produces. This is genuine wisdom. Not the intellectual understanding of what wisdom would look like in difficult conditions. The genuine, embodied, directly available understanding of what difficult conditions are actually like and what meeting them genuinely actually requires. Genuine self-knowledge. Perhaps the most fundamental thing that the practice of refusing to be soft builds is the specific, honest, accurate knowledge of the self. The genuine self-knowledge that is only available through the genuine encounter with the conditions that reveal what the self is actually capable of. The comfortable life produces comfortable self-knowledge. The knowledge of what the self can do in comfortable conditions. With adequate preparation. Without genuine pressure. With the specific management of circumstances that the comfortable life makes perpetually available. This is not sufficient self-knowledge for the person who wants to live genuinely. Who wants to inhabit the full range of what genuine life makes available. Who wants to meet the inevitable genuine difficulties of a genuine human life with the specific interior resources that only the genuine encounter with genuine difficulty builds. The genuine self-knowledge that refusing to be soft builds is the specific, accurate, evidence-based knowledge of what the self is actually made of. In the cold. In the physical effort sustained past the comfortable stopping point. In the difficult conversation. In the genuine emotional engagement with the difficult material. In the intellectual challenge that pushes genuinely past the comfortable familiar. This is the self-knowledge that Connor found on the bank of the river. Shaking from the cold. With the specific, completely direct, completely honest knowledge of what the decade of comfort had produced and what it had failed to produce. And with the specific, completely practical, immediately actionable knowledge of what the year ahead needed to contain. What the non-soft life looks like, and what it does not. The non-soft life is not the life of permanent suffering. It is not the life of gratuitous self-punishment or the performative rejection of all comfort. It is not the life of someone who has confused the practice of voluntary discomfort with the worship of suffering. The Stoics were clear about this. Seneca, who practiced voluntary poverty days, lived otherwise in significant material comfort and did not consider this hypocrisy. Marcus Aurelius, who wrote about the demanding choice of the morning, also valued genuine rest and understood its place in the sustainable practice of genuine character development. The non-soft life is not the life without comfort. It is the life where comfort is genuinely chosen rather than automatically defaulted to. Where difficulty is genuinely engaged with rather than systematically managed away. Where the relationship with challenge is the relationship of someone who understands what genuine challenge builds and who therefore maintains a regular, deliberate, philosophically grounded engagement with it rather than the perpetual management toward the comfortable that softness produces. It is the life where the cold shower is taken because the taking of it is a practice, a specific, daily, small, immediately available practice of refusing the comfortable default in favor of the demanding alternative. Where the workout is extended past the comfortable stopping point because the extending is the practice. Where the difficult conversation is had because the having of it is the practice. Where the intellectual challenge is engaged because the engagement is the practice. And interspersed with all of this genuine challenge is genuine rest. Genuine comfort. The specific enjoyment of the comfortable that is genuinely enjoyed because it is genuinely chosen rather than automatically defaulted to. Because the person who has regularly encountered genuine difficulty knows the specific quality of genuine rest in a way that the person who has never pushed past the comfortable stopping point cannot know. This is the non-soft life. Not the life without comfort. The life where both the challenge and the rest are genuinely chosen. Where the character that the challenge builds makes the rest more genuinely available because the person receiving the rest is the person whose character has been built to receive it rather than the person whose softness has made the rest the primary ambient condition. Connor went back to the river the following year. He descended the same difficult section with the specific, practiced, confident engagement of someone whose relationship with genuine physical difficulty had been rebuilt through a year of deliberate, graduated challenge. He still felt the specific respect for the river that the previous year had installed with unusual clarity. The river was genuinely demanding and genuinely indifferent and genuinely capable of being more than he could handle. But he had rebuilt the specific interior resource, the practiced, evidence-based knowledge of his own genuine capacity under genuine pressure, that made the engagement genuinely available rather than marginally possible. He was not soft. He had refused to be. Daily. In the small, unglamorous, completely unremarkable practices that the daily refusal of the comfortable default in favor of the demanding alternative produces over the course of a year. This is the practice. And this is what the practice builds. Subscribe to Stoic Ascension right now. Turn on your notifications. Every single video on this channel is built for exactly this depth of honest philosophical engagement and this quality of practically applicable instruction. The kind that produces not the performance of hardness but the genuine interior quality that only the regular, deliberate, philosophically grounded engagement with genuine challenge builds. What comes after this builds directly on everything you just heard. Every video goes deeper. Every video takes the practice further into the complete understanding of what genuinely refusing to be soft actually requires and what it actually produces in the person who takes the practice seriously. Connor sat on the bank of the river, shaking, and understood what 10 years of comfort had been gradually taking, and what 1 year of deliberate engagement with genuine challenge would build. He went back to the river. The river did not care. But Connor did. And the caring, expressed in the daily, specific, unglamorous practice of choosing the more demanding option rather than the more comfortable one, built something that the decade of comfort had not been able to maintain. The specific, genuine, tested, directly available interior resource of someone who is not soft. Who has refused to be. Who refuses again tomorrow. And the day after. Not dramatically. Specifically. In the next available moment where the comfortable option and the demanding one are both present. Choose the demanding one. That is where it is built. Begin.